Hey, okay. I'm gonna make several different video blogs while I'm sitting here. Okay. January 11th, 2009. It's about 1:30. Um, I want to talk about the media and the fact that the media does not cover CPS cases in the respect of where they actually steal kids. I mean, for the fact of the media that we have in this country, I mean, we have newspapers, we have radio, we have television, we have internet, we have so many different ways of getting the news in this country. Yet, surprisingly enough, you really don't hear that much about child abuse, whether it be good or bad. Uh, and I was wondering, why is that? I mean, why is it that you just don't hear about it? I mean, every now and then, and usually in extreme cases, like, the Kaylee Anthony case that's going on in Florida right now. We've been hearing about it for months in the media. Well, I would ask, why wasn't CPS involved in that girl's life? I mean, I understand that those are the type of cases that CPS gets all up there to the federal government and they scream, oh, we need more money because look at this that happened. Yes, it's one case. It's a horrible thing that that little girl was killed by her mother. It is horrible. I personally believe that. But what I don't understand is why we have to hear about it for months. Just like when the FLDS got their children taken by Texas CPS, we had to hear about it for months. But the only reason that we even heard about the CPS case in Texas with the FLDS is because they're a huge religious group and they're being persecuted for their beliefs. I mean, I don't know that much about them personally. I will just go ahead and put that out there. So I can't really state one way or the other whether they should have had their kids taken or not. I don't know. I don't believe they should have had them taken for religious beliefs. I don't believe that they should have had them taken because there are 16-year-old girls getting married. Um, I personally don't believe that. When I look around, I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, and young girls got married. When I was in seventh grade, a girl I went to school with, she was 14. Her parents signed for her to get married. That was a private family thing. It should be, I mean, I don't see why they don't deserve the same rights as everyone else. But that's just me personally. Anyway, we only heard about the case because the FLDS is being persecuted for their beliefs on multiple marriages and all of that and whatever. I mean, I watched the show Big Love. I don't get the big deal about it. If they want to be married to more than one person, live a whole bunch of people in the house or whatever. If they don't really beat their kids and they feed them and they clothe them and they take care of them and they love them and they teach them their beliefs so they can be carried on down the line like everybody else does, what's the big deal? But we heard about that case because it was in Texas. They took 440 children at one time, and Texas spent $14 million, by the way, on that one case, which is an astronomical amount, but it just goes to show. Texas also, by the way, happens to be the state that profits the most from the federal government, from what I found on Google last night. I mean, I'm just saying. But the media never wants to talk about it. I mean, you only hear Nancy Grace talk about CPS when it gets to stuff to do with the FLDS, and I mean, you don't hear it covered. I mean, if a normal person like myself goes to a reporter because I have been wronged by CPS, yes, the reporter is going to sit there and they're going to listen and they're going to be like, oh, yes, that's horrible what happened to you. And they're going to tell you that they're going to do the story. But then they never do it. Why? Well, I was talking to somebody from the Steve Wilkos show. Steve Wilkos show is exactly like Jerry Springer. It's really no different. It's the same type of topics, whatever. It's entertainment. I mean, honestly, most of the stories that I personally see on Jerry Springer and on the Steve Wilkos show, I don't even believe that those are those people's real, true stories. I think they're a bunch of actors that they hire to go on this show and say this horrific stuff, because it's entertainment. People want to hear it. It makes money. But they're not a real media outlet. But anyway, my daughter had contacted them back in January of 2008 after I had had her son for 15 months because she called me and said, I want to come get him. And I, at that point, had told her, no, you can't come get him. I'm about to file in the court to keep him because I've now had him 15 months and you haven't done nothing. So that's why she came and got him. Aside from someone throwing it up in her face. But anyway, she had contacted the Steve Wilkos show and told him that I wouldn't give her child back. And they wanted to have me on the show, because they thought, oh yeah, let's target this woman and bring her on the show and lambaste her because she won't give the kid back to her daughter. Well, they didn't. When I told my side of the story about how, Ashley had abandoned him and I'd had him for 15 months and she doesn't call to check on him and she doesn't buy a diaper and she doesn't do anything, well then, it was different. Then they wanted us to get us on the show so they could make us look horrible as a family, but not really do anything to help the real issue. So anyway, I thought of that one day, the fact that they had contacted us last year when all this CPS mess was going on. So I contacted them and I said, you guys ought to do a story on CPS. You need to do a story on CPS about how they steal kids, they profit from it, they're tearing families apart. And I said to the producer that called me back, how many kids have to die in foster care every year before you guys will do a story? And her response to me was, we can't go after and attack a government agency. And that just floored me because I was like, why not? I mean, how many families do they have to destroy? How many lives have to be ruined before you can bring that government agency to task for what they're doing? And I had watched another video post on here where somebody had said that what CPS is doing is basically meets the criteria for federal racketeering under the RICO Act. And it does. I mean, it really does. I mean, they are actively going out, stealing kids to profit from this federal government money. So, I mean, that to me and anybody else, normal people, that would be racketeering, and we would think they could be prosecuted for it, but no, they don't get prosecuted for it. They don't even get prosecuted for perjury. I mean, but anyway, I found out why the media doesn't want to cover anything. I've got to find out the exact figure, but once I do, I will make a blog about it. But the federal government actually has a portion of the budget that they pay, they call it the non-commercial something or other program. I'm going to get all my facts straight before I lay it all out there. But anyway, they basically pretty much, they got a program where they spend millions of dollars a year to do counterintelligence so this can't get out in the media. Just like the military, when we go over there in Iraq and Afghanistan, we are dropping leaflets with all types of information on them for intelligence purposes. To get out there and tell people, oh yeah, we're the Americans. It's the same thing. They've got this campaign going on where the media is not going to cover it, and they're paying for silence. Isn't that wonderful? We can pay for silence in this country. But yet we can't really fix any of our issues. So I'm going to post this one up and do all my tags, and then I'll be back to y'all in the next video. CPS is stealing kids, y'all. Time to stop them.